How's it going?
You know?
It's funny that we're like naturally drawn into the flow state. It exists before we were born. So like it draws us in, and we don't necessarily have to focus. You can, but you can't be distracted. So you could do it with just a clear mind, no focus, and just be spinning around in circles, and then you're in the flow state. So yeah, it's an interesting place to be. If we're made of light, right? And you shine a light through a kaleidoscope, the light has no option but to become what the kaleidoscope tells it to be. And it may come out the other side and shine a different kind of light. And so, as vibrational beings, sometimes the vessel and the amount of pressure and, time elapsed and all have to do with the complexities that, towards your, say, momentary experience, that you're having right now. And it's so interesting, like the quantum world or quantum model suggests consciousness is talking to itself, basically, and that, and why would it want to do that, you ask? I think it's hilarious. It's like the kaleidoscope. We've been, like, the light we are is shining through a prism, and that prism is what we're seeing. Everything that we're living and experiencing is like this evolution of that prism, because the light seems to continue to bounce and reflect and endlessly, as long as it's there reflecting in the kaleidoscope. And sometimes, if it combines with new light that's coming in. So it's forever changing inside the kaleidoscope, even if it's just one shade, like it's just a piece of crystal, it's always changing, always alive, always telling a story. So I have chronic pain, and so that is like an avenue to deal with all kinds of things, right? It makes me see things very clear, really quick, because it's not an emotional hang up. It's not something that I have to think about. I know it's there. I know where it's from, and I do things about it. And I'm confident that I'm doing enough. So like, it really is no thought, but it's there, and it affects me completely. And sometimes my attitude a little bit, and so I'll start thinking, darker thoughts. But ultimately, it's chronic. So it just offers this avenue to, that's my pain that makes me react and want to change and do something. And what's crazy is that it's been, for this way for so many years. And so I've gotten quite adept to understanding what change is, and when people want to change, and people that want to change seek me out because I have this cheat code. And I feel blessed because it is just pain. The other problems are much harder because you can't get straight on how you feel about things, what you want to do about it. I'm stuck in my chair. I want to go do those things. I got to sit down. Fuck. And so it's a complete different handicap, and it's just really, trauma, struggle in life isn't easy. And then when you're saying join a gang, you lose a lot of ground for a while. You're like not gaining ground. And it's a hard thing to come back from. It takes people many years in jail sometimes, if they're lucky. Then that usually scares the shit out of a man, enough to fucking change him. You can kind of derive something good out of everything, especially when you're excited about, whatever the next thing you're going to do right now, when we love ourselves. And we'll do anything to keep ourselves alive, whatever it takes. And the more you love yourself, I mean, the more, you know, you're going to get in rhythm with what the world's abundance is, because, you know, you deserve it. You're trying your hardest, and you have good feeling in nature about yourself, that you love yourself. And that gives you this power and connection with people. Like, you see a homeless guy on the side of the road, hey, have a good day, you give him $10. Like, you have this abundance about you because you love, and you're in love with yourself. And even if this guy fucking doesn't like me, here, buddy, here's $10. You know, it doesn't matter. Some people could really ruin your day. It's not going to be like, it's not Disneyland out there in the world. And like, so it's probably pretty difficult to be a very successful person and out there, you know, where people are seeing you and yelling at you from the sidewalk or whatever. But I mean, such is life. If you're a billionaire, it's going to be hard. Like, everything's hard, right? Nothing's easy. But if you do have like a following and you're an artist and you make money with your art, you have the opportunity to find out what's going on and use your platform. But most people become famous nowadays and they're bought out immediately. And they advertise whatever the latest thing is that everybody's doing because it pays money and it makes a living. And a lot of artists that go jumping in, like, I'm going to go full-time artist, they end up in a spot where they have to start taking those kinds of deals, and then their audience changes. And they're not reaching those organic people that are totally about them, and they're now reliant on an audience that wants them to sell out, wants them to be that show and entertain me, motherfucker, you know, and yell at you if you're not doing a good job at it. Like, you have options. You could do a number of things, and since you're not really necessarily rooted in where you're at, you don't have all those accomplishments and things that you're feeling good about, you could go anywhere and start afresh and have, you know, take with you only what you want to take with you.
Wow.
And that's it. It was a real great saying my dad would say all the time as well. Beats the alternative. Because, you know, it's funny. You can be real serious and love somebody, but have like a serious, I really mean this. And it's like, there are no negotiations with what I'm saying right now. When someone's done something to you and you've lost trust in people or things, maybe you don't fucking trust a car anymore you know, you've had so many bad cars that you just, like, you can't bring yourself to buy one. You've had so many failed relationships, you can't bring yourself to engage in one. And then you feel guilty because you're judging everybody you look at. And if you do try, then you have this huge judgment that's coming along with it. And then down the road, they like turn out to be good, and you're like, you have to apologize. You know, all this energy you've been feeling from me, I'm so sorry. It's, you know, I don't, I've been hurt, you know, and I don't mean to like judge you like that. I think you're a nice person, you know, and that it's hard to get to that place because you don't trust them. So we're all trying to be safe out here in the world, and we've all been fed this narrative that the world's ending, and so we have this tendency to not trust anybody. And there's just so many story after story, especially on the internet. You know, how is it likely that I'll find someone that is like, you know, just a big giant world out there, and most people aren't even ready to be in that seat.
Yeah.
They have an account. You just need to make a password, right? feels good. Someone goes and says something good about you and refers you to someone that may need you or could learn from you. And they either do believe you're the guy that you say you are and that you're out there, or they think you're a fraud and they want to know. So they'll find, like, those people often you get more work from the person that doesn't believe you, because they want to see if you're going to fail. And they don't want false advertisers running around muck on the internet, so someone that likes you, they may not necessarily think about you so much that they find someone that you could go help too. They want to keep you for themselves, if you do have any time for them, right? So it's really strange how we work under duress as a society. We don't know where we're going. We have amnesia where we're from, and it's hard to talk to each other. And we've lost this connection, like you're saying, this telepathic, like, understanding, or like how a cat or a dog knows your intentions pretty quickly. Even if you're presenting yourself, oh yeah, I'm a nice guy. The dog knows. And a horse especially. A horse is they're gonna go, no, I don't like this guy. So half the world is under a spell and is using esoteric symbolism to trick you, and subconsciously as well. So they don't even know that they're the perpetrator stealing from you. They're just using what the world's taught them, how to get what they want, instead of focusing on giving and providing what is needed, which is like the path. That's where you find yourself and who you are and how you love the world and how you react to the world. Neither are exclusively right. It was very interesting. I watched the Elon Musk and Lex Friedman today, their recent interview. And they're talking about a video game. That maybe Diablo or another one that they were talking about, but they're talking about, basically defeating fear or hatred, defeating hatred, and that he couldn't do it in the game, but in the seasonal version, you could, defeat, but not in the eternal version of the game. So there's like this part of us, and there's this philosophical argument between the two that basically saying that all these negative components of our emotional state there's a reason for them in the general bigger scheme of things. And to have, like, they talked about soma and how, the real drug end from, the brain world, that it's just this pacifying, happy drug, and keeps everybody, compliant and, just happy. And they're endorphined out, or whatever. As opposed to 1984, which was like a dystopia, and they used fear and everything was destroyed. So they had an interesting conversation. It was really good, and it was an interesting thing to think that you're not there to defeat it. Why would love want to defeat anything? And it would want to save hatred and say, oh, we can fix you, right? Love would do that because love is blind. Interestingly, like he says in the eternal version, the hatred always, has its day. Certainly, you possibly use that in a positive way or, obviously in a negative way. But ultimately, what they were saying is it's necessary. It's very interesting.
So where does love come from?
Well, it's something that you conjure by doing things, because love is what you do, right? So the more you do in love, I hesitate to say like the stronger you love, but sometimes the more you find out what it is. It's kind of it's so obvious that it's elusive and almost magically invisible, the whole concept itself, because it's this part of itself. Like you were saying, like the consciousness is ultimately this like self-loving thing. It loves itself so much that it's willing to suffer and be split apart into fragments of light to experience itself. As you know, I mean, instead of crying like you're bleeding, you're rejoicing. You know, basking in the reflection and the echo. Having to make something work, without money produces all kinds of value within yourself. So over time, not doing things with money, you develop a way of dealing with the world and providing value through yourself instead of giving people money and relying on, I'll just give him $40, his birthday. You really have to, if you want to give someone something, it's very special and it means a lot, people take you for granted all the time because there's not many people that kind of work in that way. They're more of the give you money type. So when you do give someone your time, they don't necessarily realize it the first time that it's a big deal and you're willing. It's like it's not just I'm here right now, but I think about it and I have my own world about you and, I care. It's hard to validate and authenticate what's real and what's not because we're so good at lying and carrying on and being the illusionist rather than the authentic person that we are, and often because of that money. So, and then if you don't know how to produce value in yourself or with your community or your world, then you are in a prison. You have to go sell yourself to find that money. You don't get to choose to stop and hang out with the dogs in the sun, which is so sad. I see people with their 9-to-5 jobs and the look on their face is just horrifying. But the internet is creating this authenticator. It's like this giant realm where nothing is invisible. And a lot of people hate that we're losing all of our privacy, but that's part of the deal when you give away. So they're in return, they're giving you trust. There's a balance in there, I'm sure, because we weren't living without trust in the physical world.
Yeah.
We still had to sacrifice things, and you sacrifice huge to win people's trust. And I work very hard, and I'm very polite, and I'm very aware and thoughtful, and that builds trust with people. And then when they see that I do what I say I do, right, then all of a sudden they're going to tell a friend, I know a guy, this is who he is, because they know I've built trust with them. So I could meet someone new and they just go look at my Facebook or my Instagram or my Minds page and they see, oh, look at this, look at that. They can instantly authenticate me and go, I can talk with this person, So, it's a really cool mosaic of information and digital, IDs and stuff that this is what look at what he does, this is what he spends his time doing. So they can do that now. They know what you're up to and where you're headed. So in a perfect world, you send out, spiritual healers, shaman to, intervene and try and give that person what they need so that they have one less missing piece, maybe some sort of stepladder to get to where they're going. That's not a normal mainstream thing. So we have this internet that's like a technology device to authenticate things, authenticate our money, authenticate our transactions, authenticate, who we are socially. That's all it is, and information, you can authenticate yourself and then learn stuff and then put that on your page. So look, I know these things, So it's kind of like a giant LinkedIn, where you hear it's your job, your profile of who you are. China is way advanced. They do all these metrics. They know they can pull you up and find out all kinds of shit about you. Very scary. But they can do that here. They just don't tell you they can. Not everybody has the app. But yeah, you're going to give them a chance because you talk to somebody who knows. So we already have that. And I think some communities, like you said, it's so important, these connections. We can live without the internet if it happens to go away. We have the ability and the understanding. So this is what the whole automatic, time change really brought this up in my head, is our clocks change automatically. So I don't make the change, and so therefore I don't consciously adjust. I do it. People tell me, you missed the meeting. Shit. Yeah, every year. So it's really annoying that that's an automated thing. And neither should the way we feel about things and our choices. We should be in control of that, but we have to be taught how to do that, making choices and being efficient at it and not getting consumed with the emotional part, because it could take over the ship without you even making a choice about it. It's everything has to be in balance so that you're using your full capacity, and you can trust anybody if they're using their capacity. But as soon as someone starts getting ill physically, mentally, emotionally, you lose trust in them because their actions start being led by these emotions or the pain. Sometimes I'm ornery, so the people count on me to be ornery. They definitely are not in full trust that I'm going to be nice today. They're going to be like, yeah, he might be on fucking edge. Watch you just stay around him, So I've lost trust and access to part of the community's language and their love. Just because I'm in pain, and that, Well, patience is the way. If you're aware of someone's pain, then you have to have patience with them. There's a lot of relationships that I've had that, in retrospect, I wish I would have just given them space and accepted their wound and made them feel comfortable that someone just accepts them and for their pain and what hurts. And then clearly I was able to have a relationship with them, so they were able to let their walls down and trust me. But the ultimate move and to open that bond would have been to accept their wound completely and fully, and it's not judged. And I would do anything to heal that wound. And I love that wound about you. And, I love how you react to your strangeness, all the things that you can do to allow someone to live in their who they are.
Yeah.
And be happy about it. Sometimes I'm like, if I would have only just taken a breath and looked a moment, I was too like a puppy, just going to the next thing, where am I going? So it takes often a huge event, trauma or whatever, chronic pain, and to slow you down enough so you'll actually listen sometimes and take a breath and deal with the situation rather than run or fight or flight, whatever the response. Just deal with it. And sometimes you lose, sometimes you win. Well, you could definitely, like, if you have cloud storage, you could link, like, all kinds of data to an NFT. So, like, all kinds of art or, like, collections. So this is the collection that, you know, is on this NFT. You can go download the art here. And then you could have, I mean, it's a huge, like, I don't know, like, say your talks with Vincent, you could, like, link all the stuff that you're talking about and all the research that's going on, and then have that in a PDF file that when, like, say someone was to buy your guys' NFT, they'd also receive PDF links for every episode of all the, you know, you go fact check us, do whatever, you know, like, have your own opinion, like something like, you know, like, think how much, like, I know some things are silly, like it's no big deal, but you know, that with all the other things that you can include into an NFT to, like, produce this time capsule art piece, right? Digital thing that, you know, maybe, you know, 10 years or 5 years or a year down the line, you know, it's like, it's someone's like, oh, look, man, I have this piece of art or whatever. And well, the interesting thing about it, bobdub, is if it is a good piece of art, that it can be added to other contracts in the future. So like an NFT can go slip in there with other things, like your trading cards, and there are a ton of information. So someone may, like, in the future say, like, they're like, you know, giving an NFT full of information to a campaign movement, you know, or whatever, a person, and so the campaign manager, they get this, send an NFT, and all this, that they have this NFT that connects to like 20 terabytes of data, right? So it's like this, it's you know, and your piece of art, your little Pepe frog or whatever, became the thing they put on top of everybody's file because it's, you know, about this subject or that subject. So it's like the art part is like not the utility. The utility will come when it comes. Like it's always, and so like, because this is new, like the very first NFTs, you know, those dumb monkeys or whatever, they'll live forever because someone will be flexing. Yeah, it was the first one, you know, I was there. I know something. And another thing is like the history of that NFT also comes along with it. So whoever it's been in the hands with it, what it's been attached to, all the different things. So metadata is another important thing, you know, police could potentially, you might end up putting in the future, you have 1,000 NFTs that you made and no one was interested in. So they were in an ecosystem, a gaming ecosystem. And so they have metadata. Maybe someone's interested in that, you know, to buy your NFTs because they're full of metadata. So, interesting things like that you can create value with collections, and they're not even good art pieces. They're just a part of something, and they're out there collecting metadata, like, you know, especially like these casinos that are popping up, like, oh, the police is going to pay a lot of money for those NFTs, I guarantee it. So what they're doing to us is they're paying all these influencers that are like kind of hip or whatever. They're doing, you know, trendy, different things, right? And that takes everybody's attention away to all these things that are basically like Disneyland. And so all the people that are actually people don't get, they're almost shadow banned even, and they're not getting the traffic, so they're not put up in the algorithm. And people have lost sense of what authenticity is.
Yes.
They're sold on like all these influencers that are getting paid to do these things are being real, and they're not. They're screwing you. They're being exactly what you want to see. And, you know, I don't know, there's a lot of truthers out there that stick to the code, you know, which is cool. and they do what they do because they love it, and some of them are so good at it that they will take the ads. Yeah, I'll do the ad and make my money. I'm getting 1 million views, and no one cares, especially if you do real good content. Like, that's cool. I know that guy didn't sell out. He just the conceptualization, especially of NFTs, really has not even hit fringe yet. So if you understand what an NFT is and what you can do with it, you're pretty excited about it. You're not just like, yeah, I heard about that stuff. Because it's mind-blowing. It's like a game changer for businesses and an individual to take back their value, whatever they're doing. They don't have to sell out. And especially if, say I wanted to do an NFT with my art, but my art's not fucking gonna sell millions of copies, but maybe it's got a good message, right? So I could go hire someone downtown that's an amazing artist, and they'll make me some art, and then I insert my data in my book or whatever, my music, and then the NFTs will all sell on the platform because everybody's, wow, look at that, and they want that, and they get it, and then there's my music too. And information, in there to lead you on a cool rabbit hole to free money, or, you could do a choose your own adventure kind of thing where you decide you trade your NFT for this one or this one, and then that one gives you the next piece to the puzzle, and then, if you choose the right adventure, you get $10,000. You can share your journey on this platform, and your winnings will be 50% more if you make it to the, and do everything right or whatever. You can really do some wonderful, amazing things, for, choose your own adventure type stuff or whatever. I mean, it's just, the sky's the limit. If you knew how to code, you'd know how to do stuff with your NFTs and make them function. So what you have to do is hire somebody like on Fiverr or some tech site that, just project, you could hire them for each NFT one by one, and just tell them what you want it to do and what function, like when someone plugs it in on the website or whatever that you're having it linked to. So that would be part of, a website, interactive NFT, with a website. So that'd be kind of cool. It's all kinds of different, whatever you're working on, kind of ways to integrate a authentication system. So you have to, if you have a real customer, a real person, they are validating that they are through your NFT that that they bought, and then you provide a incentive, a new reward for them to either go tell someone about your project or buy something or interact in some way. So yeah, oh no, I have 2 NFTs now. Whoa, Russian Waves gave me an NFT for stopping by. You know what I mean? That's cool. So, because you already had a NFT, and it says that you've been my follower for 5 years. So holy crap! So I can interact and have what is analytics and metrics on my where those NFTs are, what they're doing, where they've been, and really interesting way to have almost like someone has a rare penny, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Oh, my best, I gave that one to my best friend, when I first did this, and you have that NFT, man, and then whatever, No. There's a website that'll do it for you. Sometimes you might need someone to kind of help, kind of making a prompt for AI, right? We're not all the best prompt makers, but you like I said, you hire somebody that you go and you find the app that does it's a website, I believe, that builds websites by talking to it. It has a little bit of an interface, and maybe you go to Fiverr and hire somebody that has a profile that says they've made 200 of them, and then you give them the audio of us talking right now and say, can you please figure something out like be creative, or this is exactly what I want right here, and they'll do it like 5 minutes. Like literally, it's so easy. And you have like these functioning NFTs that carry, whatever into the future. Like if you hold this NFT for 5 years, you get a new NFT or whatever. I don't know. Like that's the whole fun part, is like the creative part that goes on forever. So figure out what you're doing, what's value that you have, and then here, these are the things I have. How can we get that into a digital world? And then invest in making the NFT. Like I said, like I would go and hire somebody, a professional digital artist, and say, hey, I have a story about the Poison Clan, and each character, here's a book, it talks about each one. Could you make me a digital drawing of each of my characters? And then now you've got something professionally crafted to go along with all of your other stuff, whatever you've created. So I would, if you're serious about it and you want to be a full-time creator, you always have to utilize other creators so that you can make a really nice product, like a collaborative effort. And then when you sell it, it's like, hey, these I'm my art, whatever, but look at my collaborators. They're big time. That's what I was saying. Where does love come from? Some people have been loving themselves for so long that they have so much built up that they just they have no problem showing you all their love, and they see a part of what you showed them, where you're at, and they want to help you. But smart people aren't going to push it on you. You got to do this. No, you should do this. You should do that. They're just gonna say, if that's what you want, like we could do this. And so I mean, there's a way to validate, I guess. And like you said, I don't know. It's a big commitment. Once you okay, yeah, promote me now. It's like you're kind of, this is what I got to do now, right? And so that's tough to have people going. What if I had a bunch of people going, hey, Rick, when's your next concert? And I'm like, I really just, it's spur of the moment, you got to kind of be there. Oh, where do you live? Well, that's not going to happen. So it's hard to find that authentic connection, like when you're authentic and then your audience, ready to see it, is very rare. And like I said, we're so tricked into believe that it's a mainstream thing. It's not.